Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this afternoon panel discussion on the state of the global robotics industry in 2023. We're really lucky that the global robotics industry came out strengthened after the pandemic. We really saw that the crisis pushed the need for automation and robotization in production. And not only in production, but also beyond in the services industry. And I think we can see a lot of examples for this today also in the exhibition and in the pitches. The preliminary figures of IFR indicate a strong growth of plus 27% for 2021 globally for industrial robots. Both the electronics and the automotive industry show strong growth, but the most surprising or rather encouraging news was the strong increase for the general industries, especially in the US, where the lack of workforce is driving the investments in automation. While we see double-digit growth rates in all major regions, Asia was leading the growth with plus 33%, while Europe's increase was a bit more moderate with a plus of 15%. Today, we would like to look ahead and dare an outlook on the state of the global robotics industry. We especially want to address how is the market going to develop and what are the drivers and what are the internal and external factors that impact or potentially hamper the growth. So I'm very lucky to have a great panel with me on stage today. And I would like to introduce the panelists to you. First, Klos, he's General Manager, Business Development and Robotics of YASKAWA, and he comes with a very in-depth knowledge about the robotics industry and its applications. Next is Christina Schack. She's Vice President and Regional Business Group Leader, Safety and Industrial for the Central European region at 3M. So she's both a customer of robotics, or her company is a customer of robotics, and also develops solutions for robotics. And she will share her knowledge about the overall market trends and also about what's driving her customers to automation. The next is Werner Kraus. Werner is Head of Robotics and Assistive Systems at Fraunhofer IFR. And he's not only an expert for industrial robotics, but also has a broad knowledge in service robotics. He's also the chair of the IFR Service Robot Group. And the IFR is also co-authoring the World Robotic Service Robots. Last but not least, we have Dominik Bösel. He's Managing Director at Micropsi Industries, and he's also Professor for Digital Sciences, Automation and Leadership at the Hochschule der Bayerischen Wirtschaft. He's representing a startup, but also has profound experiences with many established companies in the field of robotics. So thank you very much on stage, and let us welcome the panelists, please. So, Michael, let me ask you the first question. Which trends will drive the growth in 2023 and beyond, and especially which are the new industries emerging as new customer industries, and are there specific applications that will rise in importance? For example, cobalt welding.
Yeah, I think we know all the trends. Lack of labor shortage, lack of people, ugly work, more and more repetitive work. People want to get rid of it because there are just no people. So this is from the demand side. So we need to automate things which have been not automated before because they were too complicated to automate in the past. We automated the simple things, but now it's time to automate the things which are more complex. But on the other hand, we have to be aware that these markets, these are other markets than industrial markets. It could be warehouse, could be other customers, could be medical, could be people working in the medical labs. And those people are not used to work with automation. They are not used to work with robots. So the warehouse leadership, they work with people. They don't work with technology. And whatever we do, whatever we go for, needs to be simple, but also complex, and that's a challenge. And I think that's the point what we have resolved recently by the researchers over the last years, but now getting more and more into really applications in industry. And now I think it's time to conquer the world of the complex applications using AI, using vision technology. So we have the enablers, we have the robotic technology now on board, and we will go for that in terms of hardware, in terms of software.
Thank you. And Christine, you mentioned in the morning that your customers are explicitly asking for automation solution. What is driving them? Why are they investing in automation from your point of view?
I mean, the key three drivers, it's first of all, shortage in labor that they're looking. They're looking for efficiency, and they're looking for safety. And clearly, in the spaces where we offer consumables for automated solutions, it's most likely rather, and Michael just kind of mentioned a little bit what are the different applications, a little bit in the more younger stage than already the more mature applications. So this is also where our domain expertise in terms of abrasives, bondings, adhesives gets applied. And here very clearly the pandemic has then accelerated things as well, because customers had to look for solutions where they can keep distance with their employees, but more importantly, the recognition that we want to onshore again, get production into Europe and Germany has significantly increased during the pandemic, but also now with the aftermath, let's say the supply chain constraints that are out there, where really customers are saying, I should be thinking about how can I get more cost-efficient production also closer by, either in Germany or at least also close by to Germany where our customers are sitting. So an interesting increasing demand in thinking about it, how could I automate my abrasive or bonding solution?
So, Werner, if there's so big need for automation from the customer side, why do we still not see that in our statistics? Or where is it still missing? Or why are especially newcomers in robotics still hesitant? Or what can robotics do to solve this?
Well, I mean, now the robotics, we're looking back on almost 50 years of robotics. The robot arm looks almost the same way they did decades ago. And we have still the challenge of the system integration. So to build a robot out of a robot system out of the robot. And I would say for the robot manufacturer, the thinking ends somewhere at the flange of the robot. And there's a big gap from the flange to the robot process, so enabling for the gripper, assembly tool, and so on. And when we are looking back now what happened in the last 2 years during the pandemic, it was also really difficult for the salespeople to go into the customer and make advertisement for the robot, demonstrate the robots. We had no fair trades where you could exhibit new technologies, get in touch with the people. And this also changed the way how robots were sold. So now we have digital platforms, like on Amazon. You get the information, you have references. Is it a 4-star solution, a 5-star, or only a 2-star solution? And also there are some low-cost automation solutions around 10,000 euros or even partly less, where you are really able to invest a small amount of money and to build up robot knowledge. And I guess that's changing now, that you can also buy a robot on Conrad or Reichel or even via Instagram. And so in the end, we have something like the IKEA furniture business, that you buy something and you install it yourself in your own environment without an expert needed. And I guess this democratization of robotics is one of the enabler that we also will see rising robot figures in our market statistic.
Dominik, many companies or many startups especially are focusing more on the software side. Is software the solution to the big problem? Will we see hardware more coming as a commodity, or also what will the role of these business ecosystems be at the end?
Well, I do think we need smart robots. We already said that. And in order to make a robot smart, you need the robot itself, and the robot needs a brain. And how do you give that robot a brain? Well, that comes through software. And no matter who does that software, so if it is the robot manufacturer themselves, or if it's somebody out of the ecosystem, yes, for sure, the added value comes through software. And you have seen this in the evolution of the PC as well. We had large mainframe systems, then finally there was a desktop system, and there were more applications. So I think actually two enablers. One is price. As long or as soon as robots get affordable for a broader mass, and you just said, they are becoming available. Or if I look around the corner here with Egos and with other companies, there are robots now at a price point where we didn't believe you could build a robot 20 years ago. So now we have affordable hardware, and that enables people to think about new solutions, to maybe go into niche markets, to go into smaller markets, to try something out. And yes, indeed, software and also smart software, so machine learning, artificial intelligence, will lead to, I think, an explosion of applications and make things easier. But it will not solve everything.
Apart from the technical challenges, we're facing a lot of external factors or issues that are hampering the developing of the market. One thing is the disruption of supply chains, partly triggered by the pandemic. Michael, can you say something about how quickly can I get a robot if I order a robot now, and how will the situation develop in the next years? Can you give an estimate on that?
Yeah, good question. So delivery time is an issue in the robotics industry right now. So delivery time used to be in the time frame of 4 to 12 weeks in the past. For some robot models, it's still that point. Some suppliers have good luck. They have European productions. They are independent from Chinese part in their supply chain. We have some models which we could deliver fast, but we are also dependent on other components inside the robot. For example, sorry to say that field bus card or safety sensors or these kind of components where you need chips inside, these are very rare, and people are fighting on the market in the moment to get those components. And we see a situation that parts which you could order 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, which you could order, like linear rails or something, you ordered it and next day delivery it was there. And the challenge of our system integrators, they need much more planning and much more upfront security of the supply chain to make sure that they can deliver their systems. That's the fact. So we are in trouble. Our customers are in trouble. They need production, they need reshoring of the production. So we have to deliver, our system integrators have to deliver, and there is a need, and that's the concentration point we have to resolve altogether.
Susanne,
yes?
sure. Just a little comment. Now imagine it's even worse. I just said it's very good to be a software startup. Imagine you become one and you put a stupid camera in front of the robot and you cannot get those cameras. This is, by the way, right now our problem. And exactly as you said, an off-the-stock component now becomes the problem why you have delivery times as well, like of 12, 14 weeks and something like that. So yeah. It's really stacking through the whole industry.
And a single component actually can kill the whole system if you don't have it.
Yep.
Yeah. So apart from the disrupted supply chains, we see the Ukraine crisis causing energy shortage and the rising energy costs. And we are also discussing the possible decoupling between the United States and China. What impact will that have on the robotics industry? Can you give an estimation, Christine?
Here, coming back a little bit to the point that definitely the sourcing behavior is significant. Well, let me answer it in two perspectives, the more medium term and then the short term. So the more medium term, definitely this higher independence, very clearly, because we see Ukraine, Russia, what it does to us. We don't know how China will develop. So this element of reshoring, really the geopolitical environment has just become much more polarized, and everybody is assuming that this will stay as such. So this is definitely a positive element in terms of reshoring, automation, because only like this in Europe we can be competitive. Then there's the short-term component, some with various aspects. One that comes immediately to my mind is energy crisis. We have now customers of ours who are saying, we have in high energy consuming industries who are saying, you know, I get my semi-finished good from Brazil or somewhere else because it's so much less expensive than that I produce it in my own factories in Europe and notably in Germany and the Netherlands. So there's short term, there's a very high impact for us, for the whole industry. And most of us heard the news yesterday from the IFR Institute, what the predictions are now for Q4, for the winter, but for all 2023. So many companies will get in very significant challenges in the sense of short-term, what their sales revenue will be. And this will bring also companies, of course, in certain cash flow problems saying, am I willing to invest? But nevertheless, even if IFA Institute predicts maybe 3 to 4%, even minus, we could be. There's still another market of 46% out. And I guess those who are really have started to think about investments, let's be positive and that they will also continue thinking about, yes, I want to keep my investment journey with a medium-term outlook, that I want to have more production in EMEA.
I have a comment on energy discussions. I remember 5 or 6 years or 7 years ago, the automotive industry had a big move towards doing tests on energy consumption of robots. We did certifications, we did test patterns. We had to identify the energy level during the robot motion, by the way, which is difficult, but there's the energy consumption on a standby motion, energy protocols to stop production, to move on production on a certain point of time. At that time, those discussions were important somehow because the CO2 footprint and the regulations were on the rise at that time. But to be honest, it was just one factor in the decision-making of the automotive suppliers in their TCP calculations. And to be honest, energy consumption was not a big point in the whole TCP, TCO discussions. Now suddenly, and that was pretty calm about it. The automotive guys work with it, yeah, calm down. And now suddenly, people dig out all the old protocols, ask us questions about those things, what we did over the last years. Now we are doing energy recuperation into the power grid, what people tried to avoid in the past. But now we are really asked to do that. And that's another challenge for us as robot suppliers to reduce CO2 footprints, I think we have to dig out all the documents from the good old times to really make an honest and tough discussion on energy saving now.
Yes.
Werner?
Maybe one point
Yeah.
which now also changes in this energy discussion is, okay, how do we operate fleets of industrial robots where with DC grids that a robot can exchange energy goods with another robot. And so from our research, we know that this makes energy savings in the area of 15 to 20%. And that's in automation. So we are talking about body-in-white production where you have plenty of robots and plenty of energy consumption. And I guess that's one example how this crisis now also delivers innovation into the production in an area which is fully automated since decades.
Do smart systems or AI help in this battle to reduce the energy consumption, or do they more or less add on top because they consume more energy because they need to be connected in the cloud?
Well, I think it depends on which systems you're using. And we all heard maybe, or you saw in the press, that now the US government is thinking about banning some parts of the crypto algorithms because they use too much energy, you know, the proof of work concept. So if you're not doing blockchain, I would say, currently they can actually very well help. Or the initiatives you talked about at the time, I was still at a different robot manufacturer than you're working now with. So basically, we had exactly the same thoughts, and that was the first time you were thinking in automotive and in robotics industry about applying AI. How can we automate and how can we analyze the energy streams and maybe even predict when do you need energy, when can you free energy, how can you phase it back, and all those things. So yes, I think those technologies definitely do help. And there is a lot of room out there, because I saw also it's also about startups here, and there's the pitch contest. I think there is a lot of room for startups to come up with really new and bright ideas in that field. And what I maybe to find that little sparkly good thing in the crisis, it's exactly what you said. Now it's no longer just an argument about TCO. It's an argument about, do we run out of energy and how do we save energy? And basically it's good for the planet. And how do we become, again, competitive? How do we get production back to Europe? And all these discussions, yeah, sure, the reason is not a very nice one, but the result might be a very good one. And as you said, it drives innovation, it opens up the encrusted minds of some people, and it gives us room to look into such solutions, because before that it was just efficiency, 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 and now there's finally room for other things as well, and I highly appreciate that.
But still, it's basically the large automotive industry that really can consider that and has a better knowledge, while, for instance, SMEs don't barely know how to really use a robot, and they are still struggling into entering robotics. What is their main problem, and what's the solution the robotics industry has to offer? Is the cobots really the right solution we're seeing? It was a lot proclaimed that this is the kind of one-fits-all solution, or is it rather the ecosystems, or is it turnkey systems that really help SMEs to solve their day-to-day issues in their production?
Well, I can quickly throw in three. It's price, it's ease of use, and it's flexibility. So, and they all play together. So it has to be affordable to try out a robot. And I explicitly say try out, because you never used one before and you don't know if it works. If it works, then maybe tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but 3 weeks later, it should do something else. So you have to be flexible, and untrained people have to be capable of using and applying a robotic solution. And I get exactly back to what Werner said. The problem also is integration, because usually you can't do it yourself because you've never done a robotic solution. And it's, well, I think back when I got my first PC, I was quite little. So I'm not that old that the screen was black and had amber writing, but it was black and had green writing. We took it out of the box, my dad turned it on, and then we were all standing there like, and what do we do next with it? Because nobody knew what a PC was doing and what you could do with it. And it's the same effect if you got to that small SME with 25 people that unboxed their first robot. They know that they want to have it to solve a problem, but currently they can't, at least not out of the box. Sorry, it was a bit longer.
Well, okay, when we now again look into the point of operation where robots are applied in industry, it's typically the 3-shift production, which is, for example, also typical in enabler for a product or economic feasible way of operation. That's also something which cannot be found in small, medium-sized enterprise. So, or also the other point, which in the end takes also to the question, okay, is a SME able to have so much task for the robot that it can operate 24/7, that it becomes economic feasible in the end from the investment point? I guess that's also one part of the risk where the investment is, because basically the investment into a robot, as a 50K or something, is not a big amount for a company. So they are building plants, or even every person, private person, is buying a house, which is multiple more expensive. But there you know, okay, what you get is what you pay for. And at a robot, it's really the question, okay, will it turn out in a business case or not? Because that's probably the other point of view.
I think the point what we have now, what we have seen in the cobot world, or let's say in the easy robotics world, is that people have been told, look, here's a robot, it's easy to start with, just try it and you get it. And we disregarded safety issues, we disregarded integration issues, cables didn't work, the cables didn't connect, and trainings needed to be done and no online trainings available. And so we learned a lot about over the time. I think we have to be honest with customers. The world of robotics is very wide. It starts with the person on entry level, doing his first trials with robots, and he is handsome and he wants to do something and he will achieve it, and he's proud to have his first robotic applications. And there is an automotive supplier with a line of 5,000 robots, have to manage a lot of things, and that's the bandwidth we are working on. And there is the field of let's say, entry-level customers, and there's a wide, I think the biggest field is the wide of companies who are really producing parts. They have to be productive, and those guys need system integrators. Those guys need the expertise. They need the knowledge. Sorry to say that. You cannot build a production line on try and error base. You need people who know what they do. And we have to be honest, and I think that's the point in the moment. There's so much noise in robotics in the moment. People say it's easy, it's go into the web, use a web store, and it's easy. Yeah, for some people it's easy, and we like it to be easy. It should be easier for everybody. But in the end, I think we need to be honest enough to tell people, look, forget that easy thing. This is a matter of a system integrator to link you with. And more, this is our role of the robotic suppliers. We are more and more in the consulting role to help people to select the right technology. But it's maybe people don't want to hear that because they want to have everything easy. We have to deliver this kind of engineering. We are happy to do that. But in the end, everything, there is so many work, and how complex it is on the other side, on one side, on the other side is so nice to have so much technology, enabling technology now in our portfolio. When you look over the exhibition here, so much cool things are here, so much great software, so much good planning tools, simulation tools, augmented reality tools, and so on. There is so much on the rise. So it's so exciting to go into robotics. And we have to play with the technology and really to apply it and tell people in what field it could be applied. And also, it's our job to tell them, okay, forget that, do this.
Maybe I'm adding here a little bit from the user perspective. So the big companies, they have the strategic automation plan, so they definitely don't approach us as a consumer material producer. But what happens rather in the SME space is, this is where then customers who are using let's just stay with the abrasives, who are using our abrasives say, 3M, you are looking into so many industries and so many companies. Can you help me? Can you tell me? Can you get me in touch with somebody? And if it is just very often another SME where they're saying they could be learning, they could be understanding, but of course also then, and this is then where the network with system integrators or also with robotic OEMs we are working with, they're looking for somebody who can help them through the woods, so to say, to this crowded place that you were describing. And this is where they because their rationale clearly tells them this is something that I should be doing, but in fact, where do I get the first help to get advice and consultancy?
But sorry, just one point. Yeah, the world needs system integrators, but the system integrators shouldn't sit there and just think the world, everything goes well, people need me, I'm full, my business is full. And when you look out for system integrators in these times, they are really fully booked. And they have a lot of projects. But on the other hand, I think the easy robotics, the easy plug-and-play idea should also be a little bit of warning for them. Yeah. Because if I were a system integrator, I would rethink my business model. I would say, look, that's all the customized job, what I can do. Can I standardize it? Can I put it on the web? Can I put it on the library to upload and download it? Think in new business models and using digital technology. this is also a thought worthwhile for system integrators.
I wanted to add to that. This is exactly what we're also seeing. So in one sentence, what micropsi industry does is we put a camera in front of the robot and we teach the robot in hours what you usually had struggles with programming in days. You can beat me for that afterwards or ask me questions, but the thing is we see two customer segments. And the first one is those that haven't automated yet, and they're completely lost. And they want to talk to us because they believe we can solve their problem, but we cannot because they don't even know which robot they should be buying. Sometimes we get the question, so, yeah, which robot do I buy and how do I bolt it to the table? Oh, I need a table that is stable enough. Can you help me? System integrator. They have to talk to a system integrator. And then the other segment is exactly the other ones that you referred to, or your customers that know how to automate, but where we bring new capabilities to the table. But also there, we're talking either to the internal system integrators or to the external system integrators. So there's currently no path around those system integrators. And I perfectly agree. This idea of you get a box and you do it yourself, I don't see this happening, but maybe I'm too spoiled by the industry for, 23 years. But I simply don't see it.
I think the first challenge is already to find the right system integrators. But if system integrators is kind of the bottleneck because they are all packed with workload, so how can we help automating what the system integrator is doing? And can we get them more efficient, or can we kind of find easy, scalable solutions that system integrators can more easily deploy with different customers?
Maybe one also point which also strengthens the point of system integration and how the engineering process is running there. And I mean, okay, now we already discussed the question, okay, what about software in robotics? Okay, it's really important, but lots of software is done in PLC, and the software is written on the construction side and before the commissioning of, the approval of the robot. And also from one of our realization projects, our system integrator did a collision with the robot during bin picking because he missed to check the sensor at the door. So the robot already scanned the next bin. The door was opened and the bin was almost empty. Then it was changed by a full bin. He closed the door, restarted the robot, and what happened? Okay, the robot thought he's grasping into an almost empty bin, and it crashed into the full bin. All right, we solved this issue, and 6 months later, the next realization in France, the same error occurred, because the system integrator was not able to propagate this knowledge which he generated in Nuremberg into his global master software project to deploy it also on the next realization project. And I guess that's a typical point that we have not that good engineering processes in our automation solutions.
Sorry, unqualified side comment. Maybe they need a smart vision system. No, just joking. But templates, that's a problem, yeah.
I think we can do something as a robot supplier, technology suppliers, we can do something for the system integrators to help them doing their business more and better. The first thing I think is thinking in functional packages, thinking in added value packages. So from us is providing the robot is one thing, but providing the robot plus the gripper plus the vision system as a package and deliver it. Maybe with a commissioning package, it's something that could help the system integrator to put out this piece of value out of their chain. And the other thing is we are spending a lot of efforts in giving them good engineering tools, simulation tools, making their digital twin tools, whatever there is on the radar of the digital world. Everything is there. Some of those things are still too complex, but some of those things are pretty easy. Nice engineering tools, smart engineering tools, which help them. Digital twin technology helps people to do all the commissioning virtually and then just deploy it to the machine and then having a quick commissioning phase. So there is so much technology. We are also a purport as a robot supplier, and there are third-party softwares to do that. There are research institutes to help customers to work. And I think a lot of your business, I guess, is working on those engineering tools. So that's the hope on the horizon, to help the system integrator to doing their work a bit more efficient and to reduce the pretty huge engineering phase and compress it a little bit together.
Yeah. As I completely support this kind of ideas. I mean, it's something like front loading we know in automotive industry. And I mean, also during lunch, we had a topic of design for automation. Ideally, we are already involved during design of the product, which is later on assembled. Because we also know that the designer make lots of variants, a lot of creativity to think of new product variants, which are in the end not feasible for automation. And I guess there's also a gap from this product design phase to the engineering process for the engineering of the automation system. So it's also like design for automation.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Because I would love to get your view on, because sometimes I think it's a double-sided sword with the integrators to make their life easy and to package things. On the other hand, sometimes I'm a little bit afraid that we're taking away they don't have that much margin anyways. So now you pre-package things and you take some added value out of that calculation. So I will be a bit afraid that the integrator starts hating me if I package too good, because then there is nothing, no butter on the bread left for them to make. So do you see that as well, or am I distracted there a bit?
Yeah, to be honest, I see that the same. Look, you have these modern new AI vision packages, no-code packages. So it's on the horizon, it works, and it dramatically decreases the programming time which used to be one of the core cash cows for the system integrators. Now that part falls away, and now the software guys earn the money, and they don't earn the money. So and in the end, they have to commission pretty small systems with a high risk towards their customers. And on the other side, they depend on some fancy startup vision companies where they don't know, do I get that support, yes or no? I have to install 3 systems in North America and 3 in Saudi Arabia, and by the way, 3 in South Africa. Will they give me support? So that's a risky situation for system integrators. But on the other side, there is much more other room for system integrators to do their business. So it's a point of standardization. So with that kind of technology-wise, they can standardize their solutions much better than they used to do, though, and scale it up. And the good news is the market needs these kind of things. So scaling up, doing things not just one time, but standardizing, reselling it, that could be a point for system integrators. And the good news also is those AI-based systems like logistic parcel sorting applications, when you install it in the beginning, they are not on tune. So they have availability of, let's say, 70%. Parcels fall down. You have to train it. You have to retrain it. During commissioning, you have to come to cycle time. And this is a piece of business which the system integrator could do if he is knowledgeable enough on those vision AI software. And that would, for me, would be attractive enough as a system integrator to go for that business. But on the other hand, it needs myself somehow to face the technology, to get familiar with the technology, and to take over the work and let's say, all the bring to market work which the software people cannot do, and they are not aware. So that's the point. Let the software guys do their job, but keep them away from the customer, and let the system integrators do the integration. That's the point.
So if the system integrator is a bottleneck, but the user struggles with the complexity, the variety and the flexibility of industrial robotic systems, if we look at the service robotic industry, it's basically not the super flexible, one robot can do everything kind of technology, but we rather have very specific systems fitting one specific goal. Is there something we can learn from the service robotics industry to the industrial robotics industry? Some benefits we can think of that solves the automation struggle we are in?
I would, well, when we are summarizing our discussion now about industrial robotics and automation, okay, we see we have components which have to be put together by a system integrator. And in the service robotics market, we have really finalized products on the market. So like the vacuum cleaner, HEVs, they are only the small amount of point really specialized, for example, to put then also pallets on it, so the load carrying part. And so the typical complete service robotic market are always finalized products, basically, which are only specialized by software in the end. And so you can also deploy engineering processes like we know them from cars, for example. And which also enables for higher turnover, also in terms of production volume. So you have also economy of scales, for example. As therefore, it's as what can we learn? Okay, we discussed it also during lunch. Okay, how can we derive standard industrial robot cells with a high volume behind it? But that's almost impossible due to the high product variance, I would say. Yeah.
So was mentioned earlier that AI is going to have a huge impact on robotics, but if we look only 1 year ahead, 2023, what do you think, which impact will AI have on robotics?
Oh yeah, so I'm coming from a robot supplier, so we are used to think in ready-to-use products and 100% reliable products. So we are in the back end of the research. You are in the front end of the research. I would say we have really started to go really into the field with AI vision. I would say we have scratched not even 1 or 2% of the potential applications which are somewhere on the radar, in the warehouses, in the labs, in the grocery stores, even in the supermarkets. There is so much automation work to be left, and everything needs to be resolved. So last week, permanently, we are getting projects, for example, questions on luggage sorting on the airports. This is such a tough thing. People are crying out for automation. This is one of the unresolved fields and I would really love to see the first application really running and really working in terms of luggage sorting. There is a lot of things to come. There is a potential, and I think we have covered all the applications where we didn't need AI vision. And even there, we have to diversify. We have more and more applications to solve the problems which are easy for robots. But there is such a big amount of applications out there which need intelligent robotics. And I'm absolutely, it's not a short-term issue. It will develop because people need to be used to the technology. And typically those projects, when we run into those projects, the decision phase for customers is 1, 2, or something, 3 years until they really get started with the idea, yeah, I have to do something. The pioneer, the scouting phase is there. We have overcome the scouting phase, I think. That's my feeling. Now people think it will take them 5 or 10 years more to really go into the broad application of intelligent technologies. That's my belief.
Maybe a small uneducated comment. When I just think about our applications where our customers are using automation, we are collecting so much data just by nature, and we are still in the process to sort out what are we doing with that. We as the consumer material supplier, but also our customers. So there's definitely still a lot of room what will be coming with how to use the data. We all sense there is value in it, but we are not already fully capable to capture the value.
Do you have customers asking for AI solutions?
they wouldn't come necessarily to us for that, but it is a byproduct, so to say.
Okay, Mikael already well described how AI and robotics will take it into the market. There's another important point, because we are often replacing human labor by robots. So that's a typical game. For example, then also in end of line, we are talking about handling applications. And we often saw end of line, which means, okay, you have the finished product and now you have to put it into the box for shipping. There are often handling tasks which are quite easy to be automated with the robot. But at this position, also the final optical inspection happens by the human. So, okay, the human takes the part and checks, okay, is it really perfect? Can it be shipped to the customer? And in the past, often this automation projects failed because we have no optical inspection available on the market. And now we can also here put together the competences that AI-based inspection systems are available to make this inspection, which enables also for automation. And the other point is that also I mentioned this design for automation. We have now also engineering methods embedded in AI, so you can, as a product designer, upload your part into a CAD, and it evaluates if this workpiece will be feasible for automation later on or not. So it integrates the expert knowledge of design for automation. So it supports also engineering processes, so which delivers in the end also better system integration. So that's the second vector I see.
Well, I have to say yes, haven't I? No. I believe that exactly what you said. We're in the middle of the exploratory phase. And this is also what we're seeing with our customers. They're excited, they want to try it out. I think AI is a very great tool for solving variance. So also what you said, end of line, there might be variance, or sorting pretzels and bread rolls because we understand what a pretzel is, but we don't know if it has exactly the same shape or size or whatever. So there will be a new kind of applications. But I do not believe that AI is the means to solve all problems. It's not that magic snake oil. And the problem is that right now, if you look in the media and if you look out there, then everything is AI. And to be honest, as a roboticist, deep down in my heart, I still am. As a roboticist, this really annoys me because you always read, even for statistical analysis, oh, that's AI in there. Or if it has not AI, the customer will not buy it. Sorry, forgive my French, bullshit. But I think there is a whole new set of applications where AI will be very beneficial, especially if we need adaptability, if we need flexibility, if we have to handle variance, no matter if location or time variance or shape variance or whatever. But it also cannot solve everything. And especially, it's not intelligent as we would perceive it. It's not this, oh, I have now the robot apprentice, and that's for sure 10, 15 years away. But I can see in 2023, getting back to the title of the panel, I see the first applications happening, the tryouts happening, every large company is looking into it, and there is a lot going to happen in the ecosystem. And what usually happens is first it explodes, then there is consolidation, and then there will be some winners. And I think the explosion hasn't happened yet. So we're pre-explosion, and I'm very excited about that, what's going to happen there.
Thank you. So let me ask one final question to all four panelists to wrap up this discussion. We discussed a lot of different trends, factors impacting the market development. From your personal perspective, which will be dominating and which are the most important markets developing in 2023?
In 2023, this most likely it's warehouse logistics. That's my point.
warehouse logistics, sorry to ask a second question on that, in mobile robotics or warehouse logistics when it comes to palletizing, depalletizing and all that kind of stuff?
Warehouse logistics is already automated in terms of mobile robotics. That's nothing new, but manipulator arms, there's still much room also in AMRs and AGVs. That's a fact. Refurbishment of warehouses will drive also the installation space. But also, I think as we are traditional robot suppliers with arms, sorry for that, we are just build manipulators, that's all. But depalletizing, random depalletizing, piece picking, order picking, layer depalletizing, layer palletizing, those kinds of typical warehouse operations in certain stages of automation, from very small to very large warehouse size. That's the point where we think we are going to end, at least in our company. That's the most crying market, needing market, if you just ask for 2023. Maybe in 2025 it's textile industry. Maybe in 2030 it's waste sorting or it's waste disposal. We don't know what happens then, but there are certain industries really crying. And most of those applications are short of labor, short of people. And we need to listen to those cries, and we are still not in a position to have the right technology for them, but we are on a good way.
Thank you. Christine.
I'm not able to give you there an objective answer. It is really mined from where my space is. But when you think about the area, so there was, for us as a abrasive tapes and safety producer, there was this piece about replacing nuts and bolts with adhesives and tapes for the lightweight industries, for sustainability reasons. And there's still so much space now, this next piece. So nuts and bolts got replaced by tapes and adhesives, and now to automate those solutions. So therefore, when I earlier talked more about the abrasive space, there's already quite a bit happening, but really applying tapes and adhesives, this I would be still calling a white space.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe I want to spot out another blind spot. Okay, now we have discussed that the cobots do not make it in the market because they miss our expectations. And I guess also from the discussion we see, okay, we are always thinking into the fully automated robot solution, which is really able to tackle a process in a robust way. And when I'm looking back, okay, in my also home family, where my aunt is running a restaurant, I see they have lots of automation solutions, so small machines, but no robots in this area. And I see that these machines really support the human to be more productive, but it's really far away from this fully autonomous systems. And I think in 2023, we will see the same movement in robotics like in autonomous driving, that autonomous driving is the target, but we see that the technologies make it into the market via assistive systems, like turnover assistant, red spot, blind spot detection. And the typical way to find them is, okay, think about a fully automated robot solution and get rid of the robot and just use the sensor technology to give feedback to the human. And that's really impressive how we can augment humans by decision support. And I guess that's as my answer for 2023.
Well, I also have a little bit of a colored view on this, but logistics, yes, I see a lot of happening in logistics. I see a lot happening in cable handling. And then the other things that I see are handling management, confectioning, whatever, so the whole domain there. And the other part is everything that helps enabling to bring production back to Europe. And the driver is one because it's politically motivated, it's economically motivated, and we have prices going down and we have the technologies in order to do this. So 2023 is around the corner, so I think these would be my top three at least.
Thank you very much. And We discussed a lot about the trends, impact factors. If you want to know more about the market expectations in real figures, then I can let you know that on October 13, IFR will publish the New World Robotics 2022 report, which is not only giving the back perspective to the 2021 market, but also providing an outlook for 2022, 2023, and beyond. So IFR will publish a press release on that, and you're of course also free to have a closer look at the report. And yes, with that, I would like to thank all four speakers again.
And we would like to thank the very great and charming moderator. Thank you very much for the great questions.
And I thank you for your patience and still sitting here at 5 o'clock. And I think you all deserve a little break now until you come back for the networking event this evening. So thank you very much for listening to us, and take care.